Welcome to the Volunteer and Combination Officer Section weekly webinar series. Today we're going to be talking about best practices for use of fire service canines. We have one of the most passionate people about this topic that I know of, Chief Kevin Hardwick, who's going to come on and share what's in the Amber Ribbon Report. We hope the attendees have downloaded the Amber Ribbon Report. It is free of charge for members or non-members. But before we begin, there's some housekeeping things. The audio is being broadcast over voice over IP. If you have problems, first of all, if you have a problem, I would suggest you log out, log right back in. I did have a problem when I logged in for the to get online early, and logged back out and came right back. But if you have problems, you can contact us through the chat, or you can send an email to webinars@ifc.org. We know how technology is great when it works and not so great when it doesn't work. Handouts are available. We do encourage you to log into the chat and have some conversations and get some perspective from different parts of the country, how they might use canines in the various ways that canines can be used. And if you have questions and answers for the chief, we will save those questions until the end, unless he said something that you just don't understand, then I might interrupt him and have him explain a little bit more in detail. But other than that, we will let Chief Hardwick get moving, and we'll do this. So a couple things about the VCOS. I don't need to read all that to you, but the VCOS is the largest section within the International Association of Fire Chiefs, and we are doing lots of things. These weekly webinars have been very successful, with several thousand people attending last year in 2023, and we're doing pretty well this year as well already. So Symposium in the Sun is our big program in November at Clearwater Beach. If you've not been, we encourage you to show up, and if you're going to go, you better register early, because we've been sold out for the last 8 years. We have ribbon reports. Again, whether you're a member or not a member, you can have access to all the different ribbon reports that we have out there, and maybe they will help you with some of the problems that you have in your particular fire department. Some of the upcoming events that are going on, like I said, we're doing weekly webinars. We think that they are very successful. We're getting good feedback and good participation. The highest webinar was 279 people registered for it, so that was very impressive for us. So Chief Kevin Hardwick is the author, not necessarily the primary author, but he was the driver to get this report produced by the Volunteer and Combination Officer Section. He recently retired as a fire chief, and he's now an EMA director at a local hospital, a large hospital in the Ohio area. So with that, Chief Hardwick, it's all yours.
Okay. Good afternoon. Thanks, John. I appreciate it. Like John says, I'm here to kind of go over how we came up with the Amber Ribbon Report and what we put together to make that happen. There's such a value into using the canines in the fire service, and the benefit that we were striving to get to. So, as we move on, we had come up with an idea back in middle of 2022. I myself was looking to possibly add a therapy animal to my fire department, and quickly found out that there really wasn't a lot of direction for me as a chief to how do I go about doing it, what to expect, what to prepare for, which kind of, in my frustration, I guess drove me to the point of seeing what I could assemble with people and experts in the field and start putting this together. So after a little more than a year, and we worked with people that wanted to be a part of the committee, we came together and we really kicked off a meeting, a joint meeting at the Symposium in the Sun in 2022, to really start getting input from departments across the country, ones that had different programs, and trying to draw the information as much as we could. Quickly found out that there are a lot of departments all across the nation that have had some sort of program already in place So we were, again, pulling information from them, their successes, issues that they had in trying to build a program, and how we could better prepare departments as they move forward, putting theirs together. What we tried to do was pull out the best practices from the departments all over. Like I said, there are some departments that have 5 or 6 therapy dogs in place already, very organized, like a well-oiled machine. In larger departments, having one therapy dog just isn't enough. The dogs they get tired too, so you can overwhelm one of the therapy dogs, and we feel that the best way to go about that is to have more than one dog. If you don't want to have more than one in your own department, if you can partner up with a neighboring department or another agency, some of the outside private agencies that do the therapy work, the more the better. Like I said, these dogs take that stress on themselves, so they take it off the firefighters, and they deal with it themselves. We talked about Canines. Really, the goal or the mission of the Amber Ribbon Report is about therapy, crisis response dogs, not so much emotional assistance, but to some degree. What we do not really go over is the sniffer dogs, the arson detection, cadaver dogs, rescue dogs. That's a whole nother report that would have to go out. We just mentioned them as far as defining what they are and mentioning them for what they're used in the fire service. So as you go through a couple of my slides here, there really is, I'm putting the information out there, but I just want to kind of tease you with that. We're not going to read the slides, but tease you with the fact of get the Amber Ribbon Report. It's available. As John mentioned, Chief Buckman mentioned, it doesn't cost anything to do that. Download the document and then read through it at your own pace. A lot of information there. Like I said, it comes from departments that have volunteered their information to us easily to share what they're doing. We believe that this is a comprehensive document. We cover everything from things to look for in therapy dogs, the cost. We have a veterinarian that had input into what they would consider as far as with the dogs themselves and protecting the animals. So again, it's there. And we all know PTSD is something that we all have to address. It's amazing how when you have firefighters, they have a group of anybody, particularly firefighters, after any sort of particular stressful incident, and you bring a therapy dog just to show up, just to be there. You can almost instantly see people start lowering their guard and taking a deep breath, and you can see them begin to relax just simply from having the dogs in the same room. There are some dogs that are able to pick up on people's movements and actions, and they will tend to migrate their direction. I personally now have a therapy dog that we worked with at getting training, and she will gravitate towards somebody that's got something going on, and she senses that. She's very good about that. So it's really rewarding to see when they go into a room or into a space and see how that helps people. The purpose of what we did with this was really kind of to set some sort of a role and standards for what we're doing with the canines, specific to employee mental health. We go over what the canine and the handlers are doing. You talk about the crisis response dogs; they're going to do a little bit different action than a therapy dog. And we try to detail that more of that to finer degrees in the report itself. Um, we talked a little bit about the background in the report, really just to say that, dogs have been around the fire service for a long, long time. Um, uh, there was the talk of the Dalmatians and the coach dogs that were around to help keep the horses calm, way back in the day, and protection of the fire department's equipment. So, um, bring that up to today. Over the last number of years, and how the support dogs have been a benefit for all of our firefighters. Um, there is there has been some documentation that even out at some of the training grounds for, let's say, live fire training, whether it's a house burn or whether you're in a burn tower or whatever the case may be, where firefighters coming out going through rehab, you know, BP's up, respirations are up, heart rate's up. But bringing a therapy dog out to have in that rehab area will help to bring some of these people, will bring their rates back down to normal ranges so they can go back in and train some more. Again, it's really kind of amazing to see that develop, and it helps everybody. And let's face it, that's the goal of this whole thing, is what we can do to help to make it a better situation. We want to help with stress, and if we can do that, from the psychological part of the stress and getting the calming effect to the physiological part of it and seeing heart rates come down, respiratory rates come down, just an overall calming of that and those benefits that we have with that. Again, we have that documented now. When we talk about a therapy dog, just to clarify a little bit, there is no absolute standard around anywhere in the United States or a nationwide standard of what a therapy dog is. There are multiple definitions to what it could be. In general terms, it's a therapy dog promotes improvement in human, physical, social, emotional, or cognitive functions in either a group or individual setting. That being said, some organizations have their definition. AKC has a definition, American Kennel Club, but there's nothing to say that anybody, any citizen can have their dog and want to make it a therapy dog or call it a therapy dog, get online, purchase a certificate to say that their dog is a therapy dog without ever having training. There is no set training standard out there. That's where we get concerned. That's where I got concerned as a fire chief in bringing something in. I wanted to bring in the way that how could we protect ourselves, our firemen, my department, myself, my community. I just felt that we didn't have that. So what we could do to do is follow as many standards as possible. The American Kennel Club, or the AKC, they have different classifications called, it's a canine good citizen attachment to the dog. It's non-specific to a breed, but it's a behavior that what the dogs do. So to get that certification, you go through an evaluation of, it's more of an obedience type effect. So it's the sit and stay, or the down and stay, walking loosely with a loose leash. Dog's not pulling, stays attentive to the handler, passing other dogs without becoming aggressive. Excuse me. So there are a couple of standards to that. The standard Canine Good Citizen, or CGC, and then there is a CGC with an urban attachment for, there's some additional evaluation for walking on a sidewalk, walking with a lot of traffic, being in an urban environment. And there are a couple others that you can research with AKC. That's kind of the baseline. So everybody should have some sort of the basic obedience training. And this way, I feel that having the AKC standard gives me something that's a that's a tile that I can hang to that says we have that much of a certification level or comfort level with where the dog is. Crisis response dogs, they're very much similar to what the therapy dogs is, a little different. They're going to be trained to handle more stressful, crowded situations when there's a lot going on in the environment. Could be from after a natural disaster, could be big fires, floods, big things, epidemics, tornadoes, hurricanes. They're going to have a little more gentle temperament than the other dogs. It gives them just another advanced level that they can provide a little more benefit to everybody. Again, there has to be some established standards to what that is, and that's where we're working. There is an organization in the U.S. that has they do crisis response dogs, and then we'll go with their standard and see where they're at, and then include that in what we do. Just to back up here, just one thing for clarification purposes. What we want to watch is we don't do service dogs. Okay, service dogs is a completely special application animal that is there for the benefit of an individual. So service dogs have that protection under the law, under the Americans with Disabilities Act, that says they can go on airplanes and they sit in the seat or sit with you on the plane, or they can go in just about anywhere other than a commercial cooking, kitchen, in any place like in a hospital where there is sanitation, whether it be a surgery area or others. But those service dogs carry a very high level of certification. Where we don't use a service dog for the fire service, especially in these situations after a post-traumatic event. Our therapy and crisis response dogs are meant to be there for the group. So it's our team, it's our company's department, whereas a service dog is for one individual. So you see kids that have diabetes and have a service dog. You see disabled veterans that have service dogs. People that are blind have service dogs. But those dogs are specific to that individual, and they have legal protection, federal legal protection, that the other dogs do not. Canine support, like I mentioned a little before, it's a benefit to mental health. We all know, being in the fire service, first responder suicide is a problem. All right. If this is one way that we like to get the therapy dogs out to the departments in times when everything's good. It's a meet and greet. You bring the dogs out, and I'm part of a group that goes around to fire departments, police departments, hospitals. They'll take 2, 3, 4, or 5 dogs into a crowd and just be there. It's getting familiar. That has benefit in itself, but it also allows those members to become comfortable with the dogs, and it's like knowing a friend on a first name basis kind of thing. So when something difficult does present itself, they already have a relationship. We have a lot of fire departments in my general area, so You could spend every day of the week going out to the departments and not hit the same one for a month or two. But it's just a way that we try to get out and do one a week or one every other week, just to get the word out what we can do. We're very fortunate working with our peer support team. I did join up with a peer support group here in town that does fire departments. So kind of being a semi-retired person gives me a little more time to do that. But I did get my peer support training through the IAFF, and their benefits. I can't say enough about how helpful that is. But getting that out, and in many areas of the country that you all have peer support teams out there, and it's working with them. Again, I don't know that any peer support team that wouldn't be working with any of our therapy dog groups. Working hand in hand, they can do a lot together. Making the decision when you start thinking about what to do to bring the therapy dog into your fire department, there's a lot to consider. When you make this choice, you have to consider, it's first of all, it's cost. There could be, initially, there could be a lot of costs put out. Getting an animal, you can get a specific breed if you choose. You can get others. Something from a shelter you can consider, but you need to evaluate. It doesn't matter what the dog is. You have to evaluate temperament, and you have to evaluate how they respond. You evaluate, how they are, what their personal characteristics of the animals are. Are they high energy? Are they laid back? Are they shy? Do they want to shy away from people? The ones that are outgoing. All of those are considerations. When you work with a breeder that deals with therapy or service dogs, and they breed specific animals based on, good temperament, good obedience, good response, like field training or field certification, whatever the case may be, that all affects, that's the initial part of the cost. Before you ever get to a point of getting a dog, though, it's insurance. You have to be insured from a department standpoint or a community standpoint, insuring yourselves as handlers with the animal. And don't forget about healthcare for the animal. They're just like part of your family. Costs for veterinary care can get pretty high. You're better to protect yourself with having the insurance in place before you need it. Talking about other things for consideration. Who's going to handle the dog? Is the dog going to be at the department? Is the dog going home with somebody? How are you transporting it? You've got vaccinations to deal with, part of the healthcare problem. Let's not forget about the feeding the dog food, training treats, equipment, everything from harnesses and leashes to dog balls, kennels, pens. There's a lot to consider. We did a really good job of putting some of those list of things to have in place is in the Amber Ribbon report. So easy for you to go to get that additional information. But, just be open-minded about it. And make sure people are on board with it. Obviously, the chief's going to be on board. But the chief's got to answer to somebody else too, and they got to be on board. I've seen more people in the departments that are not at the chief level handling the dogs. Typically, it's a battalion or a company officer, or even just a firefighter. Not specific, but the chief's always supportive of it. Talked a little bit about needs. Um, Talked about multiple dogs. So, like I said, dogs can get overwhelmed at the events. So having a single dog, you just got to be careful with it. One of my partners that was a part of this, Chief Collins, out in the western part of the U.S. Um, they have a group of 3 or 4 dogs that they use, and not all of them are specific to one department, but they share that across their county, and that way they're not overwhelming a single dog. Just a good idea, um, especially on big events. And there's a lot of people in the public that are doing this anyway. So, reach out and talk to somebody and get somebody else to partner with you and as you move ahead. Overextending the dogs can do permanent damage. So we want to stay away from that. And like I said, share the load and make sure the dogs get their rest and recoup as well. Talked a little bit about this. Your administrative group, from the administrative side, you're going to develop your SOPs, SOGs, whatever your preference is. Manage the teams in the fire station. Are they there all the time, or they stay there? If you go out on a response, are they going? How they getting there? How they getting back? Who's taking care of the dog on a scene? All those things to consider when you're developing the SOPs. You can't leave a dog run free in the fire station. So make those plans ahead as you, like I said, developing your SOPs or SOGs, and get yourself prepared for that. How the dogs work out in the community. Like I said, these dogs are passionate about being around people, getting involved, reaching out. You take a dog out there, they're the hit. They get attention, and we certainly want that to be good attention. And then consider doing regional teams. If you have a fairly large county like we have here in Ohio, where we have 40 fire departments in this county that I'm in, being able to partner with some other people in this county, and then our 3 or 4 neighboring counties that we all try to work together. Our peer support team, we work with the therapy dogs, is 7 counties. So we can go a long way, and like I said, share that information and share those animals and provide the best sort of relief that we can. The external peer support teams. In my area, we have a private group that it's Pet Partners, and Pet Partners is you're a nationwide group. They have spots all over the country. Here in this area, they have a regular Pet Partners group that they use for hospital work, social work, that sort of thing. And they have a group of the people in Pet Partners here that are they're doing the crisis response work. So the dogs have to be in regular pet therapy groups for a year before they can come over to the crisis response team. They want to make sure that they get a little bit of background in them before they come to some more high stress event. But Pet Partners is handling that completely on their own. They go out to different departments, and it's all set up on just a relationship building with departments to say what they can offer. Pet Partners also does some police departments. They do the communication centers we have in the area. Like I said, wellness visits, get to know you visits, public events in all of those places. So when you do have a big event, there's that familiarity again. That's a big benefit there, building that trust and understanding before you need it at a big event. Um, Here's some groups that have provided some information, and these are all the private groups to look out for. Um, Hope is one of the ones that has the Animal Assisted Crisis Response Team, National Crisis Response Canines. Pet Partners on the second line is one that I've worked with, like I said, again, nationwide. Canines for Christ is a separate organization from Pet Partners doing very similar type work. Thin Line Service Dogs, providing service dogs to veterans and first responders um, at no cost. First responder therapy dogs is another one to help put it. It provided some information that we included in the report, and you can see there's more detailed information for all of these inside the Amber Ribbon report as well. In the report, we included, we really kind of picked 7 of the departments that have fire service canines actively functioning. Off the top of my head, we've got one down in Florida, outside of Naples, Florida. We got one in Huntington Beach, California. Off the top of my head, I don't remember the other ones, but they're all 7 of those. So they're in the Amber Ribbon report. And it kind of tells you how they build their program, what they did, what they actually do currently. And it's very open and free to communicate. There are contacts for those departments of who to get in touch with if you want to talk to somebody. Very willing to share information with us. And if you were doing it in your department, they'd be willing to share it with you as well. It's a huge benefit to have somebody that's got a program and willing to share that information to help somebody else. It's kind of funny. We had this one here is North Collier Fire District. It's outside of Naples, Florida. So their dog is Tank. Well, they ended up doing they got Tank, the meme that they use in all of their public information presentations. So it's kind of cool the way they work that out, and seems to be a big hit. So the opportunities are limitless in what you can do. Talked a little bit about breeders. Breeders, if you're using a breeder, they have special knowledge about the animals. Like I said, specific breeders looking for those characteristics from good temperament, good obedience, very trainable, very predictable in what they're providing. And some dog breeds are going to be more difficult to do for therapy work, just based on what they are. I mean, there are some high energy dogs that are kind of like I said, high energy and doesn't have that. They're a little more skittish, and you really need a dog that's going to project calmness. When we chose the name Amber Ribbon Report, amber being a calming color, that's kind of where we are with that. But if you're going to use a rescue animal, you just have to go through evaluation. You have to make sure that temperament, where the temperament stands. There's some unknowns to that. So somewhere that's an area just to walk carefully and make sure you get yourself covered. With breeders, you're going to select, again, seeing what you're looking for. Make sure that they're, we're not talking about a puppy mill. We're talking about a breeder of a working animal. You want to make sure that they do all of the things the right way with the dog's health, and get them started off right from puppy on. From the time a pup is born until they're actually out there doing the thing can be, maybe 2 years, in some cases 3, in some cases 18 months, depends on the dog and how the evaluation goes. Like I said, there are puppy certifications through AKC as well. So um, lots of opportunity there. And again, we've included all that in the Amber Ribbon report for you to work off of and give you some direction that way. With the breeders, though, you know that you're getting, you know, pretty much what you're getting from the start. So, the advantage of that. For the dogs themselves, there's a list of things you want to, characteristics you want to consider. You know, motivated by food or toys. That goes to say with trainability, medium level of energy. You can't have a high energy. You can't have a high energy therapy animal. It doesn't work. You want them to be adaptable to different things. You know, being inside of a firehouse, there's different noises and different things happening, from air compressors coming on to, you know, alarm bells going off. And you want the dogs to be comfortable in that environment. The only way you're going to find out is take them out to the places and, you know, expose them to some of the noises and the whizzes and bangs that go on to see how they react to that. You pick up on that pretty quick. You want the dogs that they're not anxious or jumpy. Like I said, eager to please. My therapy dog is one that she's very desirous of interacting with people. She's a people dog, and that works well in therapy. You want them to be able to focus, not distract too easily. Even when there's other food in the area or vicinity of where you're in with a group of firemen, and you know, we tell the firemen ahead of time that you know, our dog is on a kind of a specific diet, and you know, if she's gonna get any treats, I'll provide you with a couple of treats to use, but I don't want anybody just feeding the dog anything. It's not healthy for the dog, and we want to make sure they get the right food and nutrition. In our report, we really did get input from breeders, trainers, canine groups, and organizations with programs, like I said before, and they're all listed. Everybody that we talked to that had any part to do with the program, it's in the report. We wanted this completely open and being as transparent as we could. I'm not a dog expert, but I have people that are a part of this committee that are dog experts, whether it be breeding or training, or we had the veterinarian that was involved, department people that have the dogs, organizations from pet partners to HOPE to crisis response, and they're all listed in there. The AKC therapy dog, like I talked about, those titles, that's defined inside of the report as well. And a lot of what the AKC therapy dog program is based on visits. So you go through the Canine Good Citizen piece of it, and then it's when you start making visits for therapy, then you start logging those and build up your animal's titles, moving ahead from that point. Just real quick with AKC, there is not guidance in what AKC does for fire department therapy dogs. So that's a particular area that I'm involved with currently to move AKC that direction to see if they would. Also working with the National Fire Protection Association, NFPA, on trying to develop a standard in NFPA for fire service canines, or the therapy and crisis response dogs, so that there is some sort of national standard that departments and chiefs and others can go to for guidance and support. Something standardized across the nation. That would be our goal. I'm not saying that what we do is better than anybody else, and I'm sure there are other places in the country that do it better. And that's what we want to tap into. We want to make sure to provide good information, high quality information, um, great benefit for the fire departments. The animals that are trained to do the job that we're trying to get to. Um, at the end of the day, the goal is to what we can do to help our firemen and make sure that we can make them have a better day. The Appendix B, I did include in the Appendix B, there are SOPs in there that relate just to the canines and the fire departments. So that data is there, free to use however you want, from many other departments than the first 7 that we highlighted. Appendix C is information that the veterinarian that weighed in on what we were doing. I added his information in there, and his contact information is there as well. A little bit about the crisis response dog national standard coming out of one of the organizations. I put their national standards in there, or in the report. So it's there for you. And review it, take a look at it, see what you think. If there are pieces and parts of that will benefit you, that's wonderful. That's what it's for. And I definitely would offer up, there's contact information for them as well, to reach out and talk to them. They're the ones that are out there to help. They're doing it from a private side. We can work with them and partner with them to come into our side. Work off of what their successes are. It may save you a step or two, and may save you $1 or $2 in the long run. So, okay. You're on mute, John.
There we go, Kevin. Wow, now, another interesting presentation. Those that know me know I am not a canine person. Been bit a couple times, and I don't like the jumping around that they do. But I'd probably like a therapy dog because, as you said, you train them to be calm, and that's what always sort of scared me when they're all jumping around and stuff like that. So, but I'm looking in the chat or the question and answer section. If there are any questions and answers, I do. Kevin, you said something. I guess I missed this last time, but about how the dogs accumulate stress from the people that they are comforting. And I was like, wow, really? I mean, I believe you, but it's like, really? I mean, you want to explain that a little bit more?
Yeah. So they kind of take that, they take that weight. It's a stress relief, and they're doing their job by pulling it from the firefighter. So they're bringing that within themselves and the animals. So you have to go through and you basically are going to do a rehab on the dog. They need to get away from the situation. They need to take a break. They need to, again, get them some water, get them something to nibble on, get them to relax, get them away from it for a little bit. I mean, there's an emotional attachment just like people.
Wow. I like I said, I was shocked or surprised about that, and I thought, wow, okay, but it makes sense, and I say it my simple way. They're actually like sucking some of your energy, some of your negative energy out of you, and they're putting it in their body. And right. So somehow or other, they got to get your negative energy out of their body. So it does make sense. So I would encourage the members on the audience and or the ones that may watch this recorded is go look at the sample SOPs in the Amber Ribbon Report. If you go, I have no idea where to start. I have no idea what I'm going to do. As Chief Hardwick said, he's got those in the document. They're samples. You can take and shape them and reshape them to how you need them done for your department. The other thing I thought Chief said, which again I understand after listening to the accumulating stress for the dog, depending on the size of the department, you may need two dogs. So understand when you get into this program, it may not just be as simple as getting one dog and training one dog, and you're going, okay, we're good for the next 3 to 5 years. May not be that way.
No.
So, like with anything, there are good and bad with every program. And I'm not saying needing more than one dog is bad, but it's just something you may not have thought about. So, I'm looking again. I have seen no questions and answers. So, Chief, you got any final comments you'd like to share?
No, I just uh, can't say enough about the benefit of having the animals and what they've done all over the country. Um, when you talk to departments that have struggled from firefighter suicide or, even a line of duty death, and having those therapy dogs come in and just spending time in the station provides such a benefit for the firefighters and the people involved. Um, like John says, you're pulling that negative energy out, and they're feeding you positive energy back. So that's all good. You're not gonna save everybody out of it, but if we can save one person, I feel like we've done what we need to do. Um, this is something that's newer to the fire department or fire service, but it's definitely well needed, and hopefully we continue to grow. It's very, very popular all across the country now. A lot of people interested in doing it. Um, our goal is to make sure that you do it the right way, and so everybody comes out of it in a better spot. Um, Very easy to do. We've tried to provide as much information to make that an easy journey for you. I appreciate the time, but all those contacts are in there. My contact information is in there as well. I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody. Drop me an email. I'd be glad to help out any way I can.
Thank you, Chief. And I again encourage the members or the audience to email Chief Hardwick. He will help you. He's very passionate about this topic, and good luck in your drive to create some kind of national standardized training program, Chief. I think that's a good idea. We know that that's important when we get the disaster, that the dogs or the canines that show up have similar kind of training that other canines have had. So that's important. So with that, you're going to receive a link to the day's session. It's going to be recorded. Share it, please. Again, it's free of charge. And let us know about your experience today. Did you like it? Did you not get some questions answered? Do you have ideas for other presentations? Please talk to us. Don't just think, oh, they put this on and they don't really want to hear you. So I want to thank Chief Hardwick for coming on today. This is his second time doing this, but we continue to hear at the VCOS that this is an up and coming issue. So we do need to pay attention to that. And so that's why we did this at the time. We thank everybody for coming. And Chief Hardwick, we thank you very much. And with that, we'll say goodbye.
All right. Be safe. Thank you.